Hello and welcome to another standard video here in the preview event for Marvel Superheroes. Today we're checking out this black, red and green or Junt colored Alien Invasion deck. I love enchantments like this that generate tokens each turn, reminiscent of cards like the Skeletal Swarming or Outlaw's Merriment. The Alien Invasion says at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red alien creature token with haste. This token attacks each combat if able, and we get to put a +1/+1 counter on it for each invasion counter on the Alien Invasion, and then we get to put another counter on the enchantment. So the longer the game goes, the bigger our alien tokens will get, and we can maybe speed up that process if we pair it with Doubling Season, which not only doubles the number of alien tokens we get, but it also doubles the number of +1 counters we get, and it also doubles the number of invasion counters we get to put on the Alien Invasion. So with the Alien Invasion and Doubling Season, before you know it, we'll have some huge alien tokens to cross the finish line. And Doubling Season is also very effective alongside Planeswalkers, since they enter with double the amount of loyalty, and that's especially relevant with Planeswalkers that can immediately set up a powerful ultimate ability, like we can with Liliana Dreadhorde General, enters with 12 loyalty, so we can immediately -9, and that's a back-breaking ultimate that will make the opponent sacrifice pretty much their entire board. Liliana can also make twice the number of zombie tokens. If we maybe played Liliana before the Doubling Season, then we can still get a lot of value out of it. And Liliana is also here to synergize with the Alien Invasion, because what will often happen is that the alien tokens are pretty small at first, so they will run into bigger creatures from the opponent, but now with the Liliana in play, at least we'll get to draw a card when those tokens die. And then we also get to play with Coming of Galactus, which is just a powerful new saga, which can immediately destroy up to one target non-land permanent on Chapter 1, and then on Chapters 2 and 3 the opponent loses 2 life, and eventually we get the legendary Galactus token, which is a 16/16 flying trampler. When it attacks we get to destroy target land, so that's another win condition if we can get to it. And Doubling Season can also speed up the process of getting to Chapter 4, since we can double the number of lore counters, which will in turn trigger multiple chapters at once, although of course Galactus is legendary, so we can't keep 2 legendary tokens around. And then the rest of the deck has lots of mana acceleration to get these expensive enchantments and planeswalkers in play in a timely fashion, and plenty of board wipes to keep the board clear, because the longer we can keep the Alien Invasion going, the better it gets, so we want to prolong the game with lots of removal and board wipes especially. So then in our ramp section we have Sammy's Curiosity, can play it on turn 1, turn 2 sacrifice the lander token, gaining 2 life in the process, and then Shared Roots can just get whatever basic we want, so it can also fix for red or black. Then there's also the Shimmer Wild's Growth, has to enchant a land so it can make an extra mana while fixing our colors in the meantime, since we do need double red and double black for some of our enchantments. And then Ancient Cornucopia can also help us ramp, and it also gains a bunch of life, which is always welcome in a control deck, and it also synergizes exceptionally well with Professor Delian Fell, which is a planeswalker that can also gain additional life, but can also draw cards at the cost of 1 life each turn, and can also destroy creatures, or we can maybe set up the -6 emblem, where now if we gain life, target opponent loses that much life, so that also plays incredibly well with the Cornucopia. And then we also have 2 copies of Withering Curse, which requires us to gain life in order to destroy all creatures, so that also plays well with the Professor, maybe the Sammy's Curiosity and the Ancient Cornucopia. And then we also have 2 copies of the Vicious Rivalry to help us answer opposing artifacts as well. Do keep in mind we might also blow up our own Ancient Cornucopia, so that's the only nombo, but can be very effective against the various synthesizer decks. And then Deadly Cover-Up, another powerful sweeper that can also maybe extract a key combo piece out of the opponent's deck. And finally, Virtue of Persistence gives us early removal, a bit of life gain for the Withering Curse as well. And then the 7 mana enchantment can also be a win condition, reanimating the opponent's creatures each turn, so we also get to play with their stuff. And then the mana base has plenty of basics for Shared Roots and Sammy's Curiosity. And then we also have a couple of the new dual lands, which require a basic land in play to make both colors. So that's where having the Shared Roots and Curiosity can also come in handy. And then we still have a healthy mix of Shock lands and Verge lands to make sure we have all the required colors, meaning green early and then enough reds and black to be able to cast our enchantments on curve. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump in some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the play here, missing green mana. So Don't think I'm keeping, plus our hand is all ramp, no action. This is better. So I want to keep Cornucopia plus Withering Curse. And then I guess a Professor is more realistic to cast than Liliana. Can play tapped Overgrown Tomb. Our opponent black-white with the Mind Stone. I get to play Cornucopia. And yeah, after drawing a bunch of lands, I regret not keeping Liliana. But the Professor can also draw cards. And Beza. Just a 4/5 here. So then now Professor, destroy Beza would be the more logical play. Sure. And then next turn we can draw, maybe cast a Withering Curse.
I'll make short work of this problem.
So yeah, Beza has a good synergy with the Mind Stone, since you can harness it and start flickering the elemental to gain life, make treasure, maybe make some fish tokens. Professor gets to draw. And yeah, this is not going to answer the Mind Stone because it's indestructible. So I'm going to hang on to it for now. Opponent flashes in the flanker. Yeah, that can now finish off the Professor. So good timing. Harnessing is 6 mana, no additional costs. Ooh, Doubling Season. That's a nice one. Yeah, can play it now, and then we can immediately go to Chapter 2 if I play this on a later turn. But now we especially want to draw the Alien Invasion. Or a Liliana could just ultimate right away. Demolition Field, I don't mind, have plenty of basics. Alright, opponent made their decision. So flanker hits for 3. And that's a land. So, not in a hurry to play Galactus, since flanker's not the scariest threat right now. Although would get something going, eventually a 16-16, although I'm sure the opponent's got an answer. So let's just wait, be patient. Can take another hit for 3. And maybe our opponent plays a bigger threat. A Luke Cage. Okay, and there's the Alien Invasion, perfect. So, yeah, can play both enchantments. Hope they don't have a Get Lost, I suppose, but they could have a Get Lost on Doubling Season in the meantime. Do we take out Luke Cage? Yeah, I guess we do. Could also cast a Withering Curse, of course. That's maybe better. Deal with both creatures at once. And then Galactus can deal with some other permanents. So we now get 2 1/1 tokens. And we now have 2 invasion counters on the invasion for next turn. So hopefully they don't mess with my Doubling Season here. Another Beza is fine. This time making a treasure and 2 fish tokens. And a Deadly Cover-Up. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind extracting Beza out of the deck. We'll also get to see what they're holding. A bunch of deadly cover-ups. Day of Judgment, so it doesn't really line up. Doctor Doom is scary, since that's indestructible. And then they also have the Soul Stone to go with the Mind Stone. Alright. So no answer to the alien invasion at the moment, which is what matters. They're gonna just shrink down one of them. And yeah, they're already 5-5 after just 2 turns. Now 4 counters on the alien invasion. So they have to wipe the board, and then next turn they could still die. They can extract my deadly cover-up. But don't really mind. They get to see my entire deck. And another Galactus. Let's get the invasion tokens, and hitting for 18. Nice. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. We've got good mana, and then some ramp. Rivalry is a bit of a nombo with Cornucopia, so just have to be careful not to blow them all up. Our opponent with turn 1 Plains. And a bat, so maybe a life gain deck. Now we can play tapped Stomping Ground. Turn 2 Virtue is already an option. Opponent maybe sneaking in Leonardo. Yep. Alright. Fine target for Virtue. Opponent stuck on 1 land. Oh, now I kind of like the shared roots. And then can get another swamp. So I can still Virtue after playing Cornucopia. And Liliana's already an option now. So a rivalry for 1 or 2 is probably already going to be enough. Could immediately deal with 2 creatures, could make a zombie. I'll just plus. Something like Erode could maybe answer the Planeswalker. There are a few new payoffs in green for gaining life, so that's probably what they're building around. And there's a Trampler that has kind of the Ajani's Pridemate effect. Yep, there it is.
Not today, Jack.
So we could go ahead and play Cornucopia into Rivalry for 2, make a zombie. And we found our alien invasion.
My packs give me strength.
So we can get this going. Thin out the deck some more.
You've reached an undead end.
And if my token dies, I still get to draw, so opponent's not gonna block. They did eventually find a few lanes. Halia can draw after the band gains 1 more. And they had another Tigra.
Now, don't be pushy.
Alright, so at the very least I can play the Virtue. These have to attack. Opponent blocks, so we get to draw. And Galactus can answer the Feline Fury.
You get used to the smell.
Opponent's fighting the good fight. Alia gets to draw once again. Has to keep a Liliana in check.
Wash your hands first.
And now Channeler flies because of our Chapter 2. Yeah, I mean, I could also -4 Liliana. I think I start by attacking. And they will let me draw 2.
Necromancy
And there's Doubling Season, excellent.
an effective tool.
So now Liliana makes twice the number of zombies.
No way but mine.
And next turn the alien invasion's gonna go crazy. If we draw another Liliana, we can immediately ultimate her. Opponent keeps adding onto the board. And yeah, Channeler flies thanks to starting town. So, would have been reasonable to -4 last turn just to get some extra value on the way out.
Oh, defeat. What a drag.
I can get back a flying blocker. And Deadly Cover-Up is going to be pretty deadly here. So I can cast it with Collect Evidence. So we can extract maybe Halia out of the deck. And then the invasion would have triggered here. And with Doubling Season, let's see, at the beginning of combat, create now 2 tokens. And we get to put twice 3 counters on it. So there would be 6 counters each. And then we get to put 2 invasion counters for next turn. So then they get even bigger. So yeah, that's kind of the synergy we're hoping to achieve. Sweet, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw with a keepable hand. Gotta make sure to hold the compound until turn 2 so we can make green for shared roots. And then we'll get a basic to enable all these new lands as well. Opponent on artifacts with the Hydraulic Helper. So we have double red already, so can get another black source. And then ideally start with an invasion. Opponent has the synthesizer, so that's scary. We do have the rivalry to destroy those artifacts at some point, but don't have a copy in hand. Okay, so Cornucopia might get answered. Shared Roots is a little safer in a way, although Cornucopia could also gain me some life. Opponent now with Ultron, so they can maybe make additional synthesizers. And Tony Stark. They can also station Uthros. Alright, Withering Curse wipes the board, so that seems like a pretty good starting point. Could also first take out the synthesizer and then wipe the board. Although never mind, I guess I'm 1 mana short of Galactus. So yeah, Withering Curse it is. And then maybe next turn Invasion. Opponent does have the Repurposing Bay, triggers Synthesizer. Alright, let's deal with the Synthesizer while we can. Uthros is now fully enabled, and the braided net. Alright, so time for Invasion. Maybe save this for another synthesizer. They can also activate Fomori Vault to dig for more action. And it's going to be Krang. Yeah, that's a great last card to have, getting to draw 4 here. So would love a land to maybe set up Liliana's -4. Opponent with Iron Heart. So non-creature spells have Improvise. Okay, so Liliana would not deal with her entire board now, but it still seems worth going for. I could make them sack 2 creatures, or I can draw an extra card by having the alien die. Because I'm not sure which creature they would keep in this spot.
This is more enjoyable than slaying demons.
I guess our alien would have probably died regardless, but
Ill of the undead.
opponent keeps Krang, so that can finish off Liliana,
My hands
but we got our value. And next turn Galactus is happening, 16/16. Although they can tap it with a net. Now Ultron can once again make additional copies. So yeah, wouldn't mind another board wipe. Liliana down.
My army has been destroyed.
And Sammy's Curiosity the draw. So my creature is gonna get tapped most likely. In the meantime, could get another alien invasion going. Cornucopia into invasion, play a tap land. Or do I want to destroy something else here? Still tempted to wait on Synthesizer, although now with Ultron they can make another copy as well. So yeah, that is scary. Maybe it is worth answering Ultron. With her opponent at 14, a single attack would be lethal, so they have to make sure they keep the braided net available. And in the meantime, our aliens can maybe get to work. Opponent's gonna braided net as alien token. And doubling season could also be exciting here, with double alien invasion. Opponent had another Ultron all along. So, yeah. They can still tap Uthros for a bunch of mana. So they might be able to copy another artifact. For now, Hydraulic Helper, which they can repurposing bay into a synthesizer perhaps. And then they'll still have enough mana to make a copy. No, opponent makes an extra helper. Yeah, they could have not made a helper and then gotten 2 synthesizers, I believe. But this also works. So are we tapping the 16/16? Probably my turn, otherwise they would be dead. And the Professor's not bad. So, what are we thinking? Professor, destroy Ultron, and then you could play another invasion.
Class is now in session. This is merciful.
Token gets tapped. The aliens invade. And these have to attack. So 2 of them will get ambushed. So still anyone's game. The repurposing bay gives them a lot of options. They can get the synthesizer going, but they also need to respect this flying Galactus. So they may need to get another braided net for more evolved Ghost Digging. And repurposing bay can get another synthesizer. So yeah, those artifact tokens are gonna quickly outpace my aliens. And they have another braided net, so they're not worried about our flyer. So yeah, if I don't draw a sweeper here, I could be dead. Another Tony. Krang goes for the Prof. And a deadly cover-up was a timely draw. So probably want to cover up before we make the invasion tokens with collect evidence. So I can extract the synthesizer out of the deck. So there might be 1 left. They do also have the Fire Crystal for haste, 1 Ultron remains, and then kind of the usual suspects. Alright, can gain some more life. The invasion happens, they can still tap those down with the braided nets. And braided net can also be transformed next turn, triggering synthesizer in the process. So I don't think I'm dead to Fire Crystal, but it's not impossible with repurposing bay getting the 4-drop. Opponent's gonna craft. Trigger synthesizer. So then if they repurposing bay a 3-drop, they could get Fire Crystal, triggering synthesizer 2 more times, and all those tokens have haste. So I could very well be dead here. Drawing first could bite them if they draw into the Fire Crystal now. So I probably still have to top deck here, because at the very least they can make enough constructs to block my aliens. So sack to get Fire Crystal, trigger, and yeah, this is already lethal. Alright, GG's, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a keepable hand. Curiosity on 1, turn 2 sack the lander. And then get the alien invasion going with cover up to keep the board clean. Opponent with a bruise banner. So we'll see what type of deck this is. Maybe trying to abuse the dual-faced cards to cheat the expensive side into play. I've seen a few iterations of those. And Bruce will draw. We're just gonna sack the lander here. And the Frostcliff Siege could be a problem, giving creatures haste, since we mostly wipe the board at sorcery speed. So let's see here. Don't think it matters too much what I get. Swamp is fine. So then can start with the alien invasion. Get that going. And next turn we can cover up. Although maybe it's better to wait a bit longer. And next is Monica. Take 6. Alright, Coming of Galactus can answer the siege. That seems good. And then next turn we can clean up the creatures. This might be a deck playing with Chico to get those dual-faced cards back as well. But yeah, I think we need to cover up here. Don't really have a choice. So we'll do that before attacking. And then next turn we could see Chico get one of those creatures back. Alright, it's going to be Ashling. And discard a land and draw. And another Bruise Banner. Opponent is at 7 in the meantime. Our Galactus has been dealing damage as well. Down to 5. So if I Galactus Ashling and attack, Bruce has to chump, and yeah, that leaves us in a pretty good spot. So I can even Cornucopia first. Attack for 7. And then next turn Galactus can get the job done. And we also get our 16/16 alien on the way out. Sweet, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a functional hand. Still need to maybe draw one of our planeswalkers or an alien invasion. But we've got early ramp, a sweeper, some removal. And this could also eventually be a win condition. So for now, shared roots. Small chance our opponent's on land destruction, so then I don't want to play the Shimmering or Shimmerwild's Growth on a non-basic land if I can help it. It's going to be Captain America. Okay, so I can double spell Cornucopia and Shimmer Wild Growth. And name green is fine. So they might be playing the shield to go with the captain. Can let them overextend into the Withering Curse, which is enabled with the Cornucopia. Alright, sheltered by ghosts. I guess now means the curse isn't enabled. Unless I can gain life some other way, which I can now with a Virtue. Or I can just Virtue the captain, pay the ward. Which seems good enough here. How many wards? It's 3 total, so yeah, we can manage. And just play this tapped. So I can maybe play the enchantment next turn. Alright, they have the other Captain America as well. Shield counters are good against destruction effects. Interestingly enough, Withering Curse without gaining life does deal with Captain America by giving it -2/-2, which gets around the shield counter. Could decline to gain life of Cornucopia. And then I would deal with both Captain and Nick Fury. They would get to keep Jennifer Walters. Yeah, I don't hate it. So play Withering Curse. Decline to gain life. And then... let's see here, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I could take out Jennifer. Maybe that's worth it just to get Galactus going. And then next turn we can play the Virtue. Agent Phil Coulson into another Sheltered by Ghosts. It's not going to work out too well. But I'll wait, since at the moment if I get back my Galactus I would not be destroying anything useful. Can take 3. The agent only pumps other heroes. And which one would we like? I guess I'm close to activating Nick Fury, but there's no heroes in my deck. So maybe prefer the Super Soldier. And the Liliana's not bad either. Play Liliana, just make a zombie for now. And don't have Doubling Season in play to immediately ultimate.
I am the master. My army will envelop. You've reached an undead end.
And Daredevil makes sense, does have haste. Seamerp can answer the zombie. Alright, so now Withering Curse is looking pretty good. Yeah, attacking with agents would not work out since First Strike answers it, and then Galactus would answer Daredevil. I am, however, fine jumping with Captain America, since we just removed the shield counter. And who else do we like? I guess another Captain America. Vicious Rivalry isn't bad. So, yeah, don't really see a reason to cast a sweeper yet, since we're not behind on board. Can let our opponent overextend some more. Another Nick Fury. Can double block with the 2 captains, although I guess they would still get an extra +1 counter, so it wouldn't quite work. So I can just jump here, draw a card.
Yours will be a fate worse than
Hawkeye is next. So getting to see all the new heroes. Get the captain back. Cover up isn't bad either. So next turn we can ultimate. Maybe it's safe enough to Withering Curse now. Could attack first, I don't think it matters. Get Galactus back. And yeah, wouldn't fault my opponent for conceding here. But next turn Liliana could ultimate. So no alien invasion this time, but the planeswalkers and removal can get it done too. So yeah, good to see this Jund-colored alien invasion control deck in action. Definitely quite well positioned against a lot of creature strategies. Against more controlling decks, it could be a little trickier, especially if they have answers to our enchantments. But against decks that just rely on sweepers and other creature removal, our enchantments can eventually go the distance, especially the alien invasion, especially if it's also paired with our doubling season. But yeah, doubling season plus Liliana to immediately ultimate is another fun line that this deck has access to. So yeah, overall pretty fun deck. Not sure if it's going to hold up on the ranked ladder, but it at least has some pretty good tools to beat up on some of the green ramp strategies that have a lot of mana creatures. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's gameplay. Want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.